Okay, so my friends, this is part two. Part one ended abruptly with the loss of the Wi-Fi, but Henrietta's been kind enough to give me another chance to hold the space here with her. So yeah, we were talking about The Sacred Marriage, which is her number one Amazon bestseller. Looks like this. Yes, yes, yes. Gorgeous, wonderful book. Not only her life story and her love story with her husband Chris, who's an amazing guy, but also let's talk about sacred leadership, the wise one, and sacred marriage. That these are the three parts of the book, and you really have something to say about each part of it. And just to background, when you and Chris were going to meet his mom for the first time on the winter solstice, which is a magical story you talked about. And you were talking about all the rainbow clouds in the sky, which was extraordinary. There was also, wasn't there a meteor streaking? So that can dovetail with the wise one, because that was certainly a big deal a few years ago as well. So wherever you'd like to take it.
Oh my goodness. Look, there's so much to share, but just with that photo, I didn't take that photo. And that was a magical photo, I have to say, with those clouds and the meteor in one. And look, I will start there at the clouds. And I think I mentioned a bit about the Alice & Co. Hypnotherapy session as well. So yes, this all ties into the solstice and how monumental that portal day or 3-day portal was. I definitely, actually, I had a little chat to you as well, just on the day, I think. And it was, basically talking about bilocation. So, these new abilities that we're going to be having come online. And it's really just about focus and intent.
Okay. Well, it could be simple. Yes.
Yeah. And one of the pieces was, I needed to be at the pyramids in Egypt for solstice as well. So I need to be in 2 locations at once. So how is that possible? Well, through the bilocation. And I think I mentioned that to you before we had a private call, or a few voice messages exchanged, in terms of how that was done through a meditation and then projecting consciousness to the King's Chamber in the Great Pyramids. And, it's quite magical, the whole thing, these abilities that are coming online for us all. It is quite magical, and it is very simple. It just takes a very strong, focused intent.
Okay. Yeah. Beautiful. Well, honestly, I'd forgotten all that, I have to confess. Yeah. But I mean, Henrietta, magical, that much I can remember. You are that to me, and you're a wonderful guide about all these things. I mean, I study also, I follow Patricia Cota-Robles and her material the last 7 years. And basically it turned out that she, with the Company of Heaven, her guides, was leading us by the hand to this winter solstice. It really was a pivotal point. And what she taught was that on 11/11, we realigned the axis of the Earth so that it was properly aligned for the first time since the fall of Atlantis. And so now all the axes in our spine, in the Earth, and connecting to the sun, the suns beyond suns, the great central sun, the grand central sun, and all of the galaxies. So her promise to us was that the grand central sun, whose names are Sanat and Luz, and all the beings of light from that level of consciousness, which is about 1,000 dimensions above where we're at right now, if not more, they're all now available to us and to work through us in new and miraculous ways. So yes, it really does seem, some are going up, others are going down, and it's going to get more noticeable based on our spiritual practices and our commitment to awakening and staying awake, isn't it?
Yeah, and look, we all have our unique roles. And so, as you remember or can recall, on 11/11, that was actually the global launch of the book. And I went to Bali with Chris, which is near the equator. So there are definite pieces where everyone is stationed at specific points in time space continuum to allow for this unfoldment. And so obviously we don't get all the pieces at the same time like before. It's always revealed after. So like what Patricia was saying, I definitely feel like Chris and I were playing our role for that time. The book launch in Bali, it's a really powerful portal. And yeah, of course, all this I mean, I just keep hearing the word miraculous, miracles. It's really coming online now. And Chris was also getting some really big pieces around his reconnection with his mum, and new information being streaming forth from that reconnection. He's very connected to the Akashic records. He's a keeper of the Akash, and this definitely, I mean, he was feeling like this is just the floodgates are open, and there's been a very big liberation. And of course, we see it in our personal stories. You know, our human journeys reflect what also is going on a greater level.
Beautiful, beautiful. Yeah, brilliant. You know, these are triggers, you know, to my mind, to our deep unconscious mind, subconscious, unconscious mind, which my teacher Lazara says, you know, is the most conscious part of yourself. And so the more often we can touch that depth within us through meditation, prayer, contemplation, attaining, sustaining, maintaining peace, you know, more light, more love, more grace, more abundance, more healing is flowing through all of us. And I really do feel it, Henrietta, the last few months, like never before in my life. You know, and it's just been dig every day, you know.
Yeah. And the trust piece is huge. For me personally as well, it's, you know, because sometimes when you get certain guidance, it doesn't really make sense. And you're sort of like, what, how, why? You know, the mind wants something to wrestle with, some sort of logical explanation. You know, the heart and the body knows. So it's kind of letting that take the lead, and just, you know, trusting that, and you know, telling the mind it's going to be okay. You'll be fine.
Sure. Yeah, don't worry. Sit down. It's okay.
Just relax. Relax.
Yeah. Beautiful. Honey, I'm thinking of some of your stories from the book of, you know, you've had a couple, I think, holy grails that in your photos, you know, you would work with from time to time. Can you tell some of the stories about your grails?
Yes. So originally they started out being the Sacred Leadership Golden Chalice Crystal Singing Bowls. So they're 24 karat gold dipped 100% quartz crystal singing bowls, and they're incredibly powerful. They're tuned in the frequency of F sharp, which is higher heart. And so a few incidents later of the bowls getting smashed and things like that due to energetic occurrences and, you know, the end of their time. Now I've just got 3 new golden sacred marriage singing bowls. So the logo is slightly different, still in F sharp. But these ones are really, really powerful. They're sort of like the next generation, because sacred leadership, I thought sacred leadership, well, it is the foundation of everything, for me anyway. But it just felt like it didn't really take off when I thought it would. So it was like kind of launching, you know, we're getting up in the air, but it didn't really take off. And, you know, something else came in, which was Chris, and then the pandemic and, you know, these last few years. And so part of the process of sacred leadership was surrender. and let go of what I thought was my life's work and my gift to humanity in leading people through this transition, being sacred leadership, had to give way to sacred marriage, which was actually the capstone of what sacred leadership is all about anyway, the essence. But I just didn't really want to say it. I didn't really want to put it out there in terms of this is really what sacred leadership is. It is the divine union of the masculine and feminine and the Trinity consciousness. And mainly because of the distortions that have come forth through that field, such as the twin flame movement. And we've seen these Netflix series come out exposing all these people with all of these teachings that are not, or they're actually doing more harm than good. And that was definitely not my intention for sacred leadership. And so I felt, well, I just need to go through the journey, walk one step at a time until I can fully hold this and fully embody it in myself and make it a real foundation. So it's not just this pie in the sky romantic notion. It's real deal. And what does that look like? What does it feel like? How do we navigate differently in this realm? So I sort of touched on that in the book, but that's pretty much the pinnacle of sacred leadership. And we can do it individually, we can do it collectively, and we can do it in partnership. It's
no, it's very elegant, my friend. And I love the progression of the whole process of those three pieces of the puzzle. And the Trinity has always been cosmically significant, to my sense of spirituality. And of course, father, son, child, mother, father, child, all of that is essential. And so the sacred leadership, is kind of about, to my mind, being sparked by the divine in some way. Like for me, I was channeling for years, and I haven't done that for the last couple of years. And so that kind of took a turn for me after the fire of letting that go and thinking about it a bit more and kind of putting it on the back burner. And then I got into doing my music again, which I hadn't done for a long time. And that's been a huge, that just, lifted me right out of my struggles and sorrows and gave me my joy again and my spark. So the sacred leadership is kind of being worldly with your gifts. This is just me interpreting it a little bit. And then the wise one within, is that inner surrender, that is the daily spiritual practice of being in truth and integrity and treating others the way we want to be treated and having clear agreements in our relationships with ourselves and with the world, so that then, we can offer that to another in the most intimate way in a loving partnership relationship. So that makes great sense, perfect.
Yeah. And also sacred leadership was, my journey of sovereignty. So that was my, coming to know myself. I thought I knew myself, but I did not.
Is it ever done? Is it ever done?
There's always more. Just like this session, there's always another past life or future life, or there's always something else that we can go deeper within ourselves. Always that edge. So sacred leadership for me was, letting go of an old life, learning about, how can I even have a relationship with anyone if I don't know who I am fully, properly, sincerely, honestly. And that's a process. We keep growing. But what I realized was, I didn't know myself. And so often we form partnerships and agreements with people when we are not in that knowing yet. And so it was really the journey of sovereignty and going, my true mother is Mother Earth. My true father is Father Sky. I'm a sovereign being and I'm connected to the earth and the stars first and foremost, and myself. And I guess, my, I don't know, my, 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 my my urge was to just connect with sacred sites. That was my joy. That was my love. That was what, did it for me. It was like, this is what is just sparking me and growing me. And I'm learning so much.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, clearly, I mean, this is your greatest gift, among many gifts, is that you are hardwired to be a channel between heaven and earth, and honoring both of those polarities, and willing to climb into the king's chamber at 2 a.m, or the crystal cave, or have a private session in Rosslyn Chapel. You really do own the place, which is great, and you make it your own, and then each one of these initiations that you share so beautifully, so vulnerably, and so intimately in your book, really has an energetic transmission. I definitely want to say that it's much more than just words. Yeah, it works. It lit me up. I got the message.
Great. I'm so glad to hear that, because I spent so much time like really energetically encoding everything that I put down.
Right. I believe it.
That process, because I had to go back in time, like essentially for 9 months, I was time traveling back and forth between timelines and going back to those places to relive that energy, embody it again, feel it, and put it down on paper. And
Wow.
it was, like a process. Let me tell you, it's.
Oh yeah. No, I absolutely got it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Bless
While
you.
balancing, of course, motherhood and daily life as well. It's just like so
Sure.
much odd. However, the transmissions also are, beautiful supplements to the words, because they also hold the energy of each location in those transmissions. So
Yeah.
they do definitely supplement the words. You can read the book without them, or you can really get quite a boom if you do all of the transmissions as well. It's like a course.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Well, I'm glad you're coming back to that, because I really do want to put more focus on the musical transmissions, and how you and Chris, whether you were in the same room or if you were on the other side of the planet, as was the case from time to time, you were still bringing these energies and this work together. And, I love music. I've loved music my whole life. Music is one of my greatest passions, as I said. Chris's ears are something else. They really are from from another dimension. If he shows up in the higher dimensions with ears this big, I won't be surprised. Because it is really coming through him, and every one of them is for me, as Mr. Movies here from LA, an absolute cinematic experience in myself. And each time I do one of those, it brings me to another place every time.
Yeah, they're quite remarkable. It's mind-blowing still to both of us, the power of the transmissions, and we still do them regularly. They're part of our practice. And
I was going to ask you that. Yeah.
Absolutely. And yeah, it just takes us deeper and deeper every single time. And it's almost like there's familiarity with each one, but sometimes it's like I'm listening to it for the first time again, and I'm getting a whole new download of what is in it. Like I feel like they're so densely packed and encoded with information that it's like you just get another layer every time. It could be infinite.
Yeah. Yeah. Didn't you have the quote from Casey about the future of medicine is sound, or something like that? Wasn't that in there?
Sound is the medicine of the future. And well, it's frequency. It's really our frequency. So we're going beyond language, we're going into the felt sense. So we feel people. We don't need to talk. We can, use telepathy. We feel energies, and we work out whether it's a match or whether you want to engage or not. But sound is just so powerful. And what the beauty of it, I believe, is that it goes beyond the mind. So it's like sometimes words can get a bit wordy, and
Sure.
and music just goes beyond that mind space and beyond language and culture
Yeah.
as well.
Yeah. Sorry, I've got a friend knocking at the door, and I'm trying to tell him I'm busy. Thank you. There we go. All right. Message communicated. Okay. Yes, sound, raising our vibration. Do you want to say a little bit about the dimensional shifts and how you feel, we're being prepared for that and how we're navigating some of that in terms of sound? I mean, that seems like a good segue there.
Yeah, sure. So I guess we can also go back to sacred sites and temples and, the resonance of these places, where they were built on certain ley lines and energy portals, to start with. But they were also designed to actually move the human body through dimensional gateways, also through sound. So what Chris and I aim to do in the book is give you that experience of moving through dimensional gateways through sound, just like entering a temple and going through an initiation and coming out the other end, almost in another dimension.
Yeah, no, that absolutely it comes across. Do you want to say anything about, like we talked about Alison Coe and her great work and your experience with her? And she's great at bringing in the higher self of the person she's hypnotizing and getting that part of us to narrate, a bigger picture of the story. I'm happy to hear about anything you want to share personally, but I'm also interested in anything that might apply, for all of us collectively that came through that.
Yeah, so I think I'll first just talk about the actual experience of this quantum hypnosis. It's beyond quantum hypnosis, called. And basically I found it actually quite challenging. She was like, oh, you'll be fine. You're a channel. I'm like, yeah, I'll be fine. I found it really challenging because what you have to do is you have to be like present and conscious while accessing the subconscious and communicating at the same time, which I hadn't done before. It was really hard.
Bless you. Bless you.
And it went for 4 hours in total.
What?
Yep.
What?
Yeah.
Jesus God, somebody catch me.
Yeah. It was a
Wow.
It's a long session because it just it's deep. So you have to really prepare.
I would say so. A 4-hour hypnosis session is no joke.
It took me, a week to come back, to be honest.
Sure. Sure.
It was really big, and I definitely felt, when you book a session, the work starts beforehand. So, the couple of weeks before, I was going through massive shifts as well, and
sure.
feelings of all the things that were troubling or frustrating me just melted away. And
wow.
When she was like, what do you want to get out of the session? I was just feeling like, I'm good. I'm good.
Right.
I thought I had issues, but I'm feeling really good and really crystal clear. But there were some pieces that relate to the book and also the course. So it was really, me talking to my higher self around the importance of this course. So I've got a course coming out called The Sacred Marriage Experience. And this is basically to walk people through the experience of the book, because as you know, it's not a small thing, and it's basically, my body of work in the form of a book. So we get to walk through it, over 13 weeks, go through sacred leadership, go through the wise one within, and come out the other side with the sacred marriage, go through all the transmissions, because so much comes up for everyone, and it's such a potent experience. And what I've noticed is everyone that is going through the book and is reading the book, they're all reaching out to me, just like, oh my God, and just sharing. And they just, they want a container to share their experiences, and be held, and because it's magical, it's just sharing the magic, in a more contained space, because it can be done as a self-guided course, which is the book. You can do it by yourself, but I'm definitely guided to put out this course to take everyone through together.
Great. So will that be live online like we're chatting now, or what's the structure of that?
Yeah, it's the details are still coming through, but I'm getting the 13-week course, and there will be live interaction. It will probably happen about once a week over the 13 weeks, with some homework, with some reading, possibly a transition, and then obviously group interaction throughout the weeks.
Okay, well, I'm interested in that, and I'm very excited.
Okay, great.
Sure. Oh God, yes. I absolutely. Yeah. No, that's very exciting. Keep me in the loop, and I will definitely put any information you have on my pages. Yeah.
That's great. Well, I haven't put up all the details yet. I do have them, but I'm sort of waiting till we clock over to 2024 to really move forward with it. But I have a link on my website where you can just put your name and email for expressions of interest, because I'm probably only going to take about 13 people or 12 people. I want it to be quite intimate. I'm thinking.
Okay. I'll throw my hat in the ring. Okay.
Ooh, great.
Yeah, hun. Oh, God, absolutely. I mean, Henrietta, the signs are everywhere, for anyone who's paying attention. That this is, as my teacher Lazarus has said, rehearsal is over. This is the real thing now. This is the time of the great work. And like in Patricia's case, just as another addendum here to what we're saying, she did 6 years of weekly videos, in her sharing with people that were all public. And she's put out a video now saying that the next one is going to be through email exclusively and through the website exclusively. So, it's like you're saying, it's getting much more intimate, put it that way.
Yeah, and I think it's, it's really a choice now. We really have to choose. We have so much available to us through all media and mediums and social, and now I think really like, well, now it's time to really narrow down the focus and choose what you want to connect with.
Yes. Well, I want to also just come back again. You mentioned sovereignty. And that is the essence of the planetary healing crisis in one clear way, right now, politically, socially, financially, all of that is just turmoil and tumult. Every time you glance at it, the pot is on full boil, and, it's getting ready to do its thing, whatever that might be. And so, like in this change that I'm going through in my life of, giving up my home of the last 3 years and moving in with somebody else, having my own apartment, for about a fourth of the price I've been paying here. It's not ideal, but it's workable, and it certainly has my attention. That I'm trusting, this initiation showing up in my life, and as I said, the divine timing of my friend and spiritual life coach Henrietta showing up at the same time once again. It's like the universe is going, you getting it, Lou? Are you getting it now, my friend? You see how this all fits together? Oh yeah, there's like a bigger picture here. Yes, there's a much bigger picture. So I just want to say, sovereignty, our own ability and willingness to take responsibility for our reality as our creation, with a loving, conscious, all-seeing, all-knowing higher power as our guide. Well, who doesn't want that? That's the keys to the kingdom. That's ultimate freedom and joy and happiness and love and abundance and everything we want in life. So to be working on those pieces of the puzzle and be building that into the divine, the heart of the feminine, the mind of the masculine, the adult and the child. I mean, all these polar opposites, that we've been through meditation and workshop and our own experience in life, have been, this has been my life for 37 years now, so talk about preparation. I'd say that's a healthy bit of preparation if this is, the fork in the road.
Yep, definitely preparation. I feel like, the last years for me have also been preparation for this year that's coming. I feel like it's the year that the rubber will hit the road, and it's going to be quite a physical year. It'll be physically demanding. And so we'll have to really be, pulling on those spiritual resources and our energy and making sure that we're resourced up in our energy and our spiritual practice, because it does feel like it's going to be quite demanding. But we have a lot to give. We just need to make sure that we're also in a space to be giving.
Yeah.
And it's that balance. We're coming into this 8th universal year, which is the balance of the physical and the spiritual. What is that? Yeah, beautiful. There we go.
Today's angel card. Yeah.
And this is the balance. It's the bridge between heaven and earth, and it's the infinity symbol. It's, but if we can just focus on that sweet spot in the middle and not go too far one side or too far the other side, I think we'll move through it, quite gracefully. But I think it will be challenging. It will be challenging, and we'll need each other. We'll need to be pulling together, but we'll also need to be grounded and have our vertical and horizontal channels, intact, so we can make very clear, conscious decisions and choices of know our yes, we know our no, we know what we're putting energy into, we know what we're not going to give energy to anymore. So that's what I'm feeling and sensing for this year. And I'm excited because I've been really in, the spiritual realms this year with the book and revisiting, and sort of, the physical side has been what's grounded the book, what's actually made it a physical reality. But it's also been a challenging balance to, spend so much time in this area, but yet have to, I need to cook dinner. I need to get my daughter ready for school. I need to pay the electricity. These kind of things need to be absolutely foundational, so that we can blossom in all other areas.
Yeah. Yeah. Beautiful. Beautiful. Yeah, no, I relate to that. And I mean, what I see also online, are a lot of younger people, particularly women, but a lot of younger people in general coming into tremendous awareness of their sovereignty, their power, their spiritual authority, just speaking with such courage and confidence that it really, has blown my hair back more than a few times. Wow. Look at these folks. They've hit the ground running. Whether it's, and then also people living off the grid, people moving into community, out in the country, out in nature, all of that, I'm sure those things are going to accelerate as well. It's a time of dynamic change, and a lot of fluidity and flexibility is going to be required. But again, Patricia's phrase is, we're now in the space that we've been preparing, the ascension that we've been preparing for myriad lifetimes to accomplish. And finally, the wind is actually at our backs. It isn't just putting out fires morning, noon, and night. It's there's a lot of grace. And as you said, I've been saying this as well, we are going to need each other more than ever before to create and sustain conscious community, and to know who's really getting the same messages that we're getting, that we can turn to and trust and support. So, I'm aware of that as well. It's exciting.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Can you say a word about the comet, the Wise One, and this new comet that just poked its head above the surface here?
Yeah, look, I don't know about this new. I think it's a meteorite.
Okay.
I don't know, but I know we had the Geminids meteor shower as well recently, so it possibly could have been part of that. I'm not sure. But yeah, the Wise One within was born through a comet. So Chris and I
what
were,
a comet.
yeah, Chris and I were in Egypt, and there was a comet called Neowise in 2020, and its closest approach to Earth was July in 2020. And I don't know what happened, but as soon as I spoke those words about this comet to Chris, he basically just got a download and went into meditation, and came out, and we both really agreed that we needed to be at the pyramids, at this comet's closest approach to Earth, because this comet had information encoded in it that we needed to transmit to humanity.
Right, and you were about 10 hours away or something the night before, or some madness, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So we just packed up, shut down the portal and of the house and left to get up there, to Cairo, to the pyramids. And initially it was just going to be an energetic thing. So we were going to be tuning in and then transmitting out, like a global group meditation. But then at the very last minute, I just was like, Chris, can you put a soundtrack together? Like, this has to be done with music. There was a musical sound element to it. So he put a track, I think it was a 20-minute playlist he put together for it. And it was absolutely like blow your socks off, like amazing. And it was, we were both in tears afterwards. It was just so powerful and so beautiful. And we had so much positive feedback from people that really actually felt it. The sound just it was like a carrier. The sound gave it another dimension of the energy to travel through. And and that's how the Wise One within was born. The first transmission, the Wise One, and then it just started to roll. It wasn't planned. It was just like, okay, sound is, it's a messenger, and we can encode, like Masaru Emoto. He did all the experiments with water crystals and exposing the crystals to love or hate or all different things, and showed that, we are water and this is what happens. So yeah, we basically found that sound has the same, is a very similar medium. You can encode it, you can transmit things through it. And that was, at the time, we couldn't really even comprehend that. It was just blowing our minds. Like, what? how could we possibly even suggest that to people? They'll just think we're absolutely crazy to suggest that. But the fact is that thousands of people have listened now to our transmissions, and every single one has come back and said they have received something incredible from each one. So we know it works. Absolutely.
Yeah, honey, it's extraordinary. It really is. And again, the two of you have the clarity, the discipline, the inner guidance that you're trusting, in a breathtaking way, for most of us, myself included. The divine timing, the whispers, the messages, the astrology, the guidance to go to these places. I want to also acknowledge, hon, you're familiar with like every story, that you talk about, in great detail. I know you're reading and writing, you've been doing this for decades, oh, here's what that did, and here's how they did that, and this is when that happened. So, I mean, you really are a living historian, or a channel of the living history of, the spiritual story of humanity. You're definitely an interpreter of that, and you're sharing that with all of us, you know, in a way that is just, again, in your great book here, is so vital and so alive. And it, you know, again, I mean, wow, you know, it really lights you up to read all that and to understand this is, you know, I know you've had your moments, you've shared them with me, we all have them, but from the outside, it just looks like boom, 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 you know, right on down the road, my friend. Like, okay, she got that and that happened and this, here's Chris right on time. And okay, we're going to do this. And, you know, and you're like, Jesus, how does that happen? You know?
It's true. You're quite right. It has felt like that. And it is, I don't know. It's just the timing. I guess it's just, yeah, and the rightness. It's like the timing and the knowing, and it's just like, yep, the intersections. And it's almost like when it happens, it's like, yep, tick that off. Like, yep, the meeting, yep, this, yep. It was almost like I kind of feel like I've designed it all and forgotten it. And then I'm just retracing my steps. I'm leaving myself breadcrumbs so that I remember at each point, but I'm not allowed to know the whole story. So I can only know a bit at a time. So it's been kind of fun that way. But ultimately, Lou, I just feel like the whole thing is so simple. It's beyond simple, and we complicate everything, and yet the simplicity is just overlooked. And often in art and design and music, it's the simplicity. The simple things are often the most complex to create. And you know, and so much work, and anyone that sees a simple artwork or design that's just like, yes, it's right, they're like, oh, I could have done that. And they're like, and you're sort of like, well, I don't think people understand how much goes into creating that simplicity, paring everything back, getting rid of everything that doesn't need to be there, and just leaving the essence. And that is what I'm hoping to transmit with this book, is just essence, pure essence, you know, and reminding that, you know, our lives can be adventures. You know, it is the great adventure. And, you know, like, I'm living proof of that. Many of us are living proof of that. And it's also the way we choose to perceive it and see it and navigate. And whether we look at the synchronicities and the signs as miracles and like, oh my gosh, and follow that and jump on that and see where it goes. But yeah, I do feel like it is quite simple in essence, but I think we get a little bit, you know, overwhelmed and confused along the way. And that's what I'm hoping to just clear away, because although we are here for massive change and transformation and massive leadership at this time, I think the simpler that it is, the better. And we don't need more like really complicated concepts. Like, the mind needs to take a rest. We need to navigate from the body, from the heart. It is that simple. But I think more of us need to be, saying that and being the example of that simple beauty.
Yeah. Beautiful. Well, and I just want to say, your aesthetic sense, yours and Chris's, you know, with his bringing the music for the most part, you know, it is, you know, that's an aspect of your channeling for both of you as well, clearly. And I mean, I love your images and your use of imagery, you know, and how you do create these golden visions of, you know, that go along with the theme and the message and the place and all of that. And it's, you know, the heart knows what the mind struggles to believe, is what my guides say, you know. And when we learn how to listen to our heart, as you are sharing and demonstrating in your life and in your work, and as I strive to do as well, you know, it does get easier and clearer. And, you know, mountains move, you know, the impossible happens over and over again. And then, like, for me, honestly, hon, you know, I had this healing crisis in April and May, where I was in the hospital for 36 days and then a rest home for 2 weeks. And, you know, right up until, you know, the 1st of December, the people that follow me online, helped me pay my rent the entire time, because I was not working and the state was not able to support me because of, my status here in Ireland. So, I mean, that was just a monthly miracle, mostly from the same people, but boom, 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 9 months in a row, I was able to keep my home here, which was an incredibly beautiful resource. So things, I'm just saying, as you are beating the same drum here, the impossible happens all the time, and it's ready to happen for any of us. We just need to be a cooperative component. Yeah.
I agree. And I also feel like we have to believe it. It is like, it's that belief that miracles are possible. We do need to believe. And, if that intention is strong enough and it's backed by the greatest and highest good of all beings, you will be 100% supported. You don't have to worry. You will be supported because your intention is whole, it's good, and it's going to help humanity. And I think that's what's really helped, with my book. It took 9 months to put all of that down, and I had a lot of help along the way with the book, teams and Chris, and understanding from my daughter and support from her as well. And, but it's done.
Let's give Harry a little moment here. I know she's had your back, with Chris, with the book, with your journeys, and you've left her on her own, brave little girl that she is, brave soldier that she is, with Grandma, and you've been able to have the freedom to do this great work. So she's quite a soul as well, Harry.
Yeah, she's definitely full support.
Right. Wonderful. It's great to hear a parent say they've been supported by their children. It's an extraordinary thing. It's a wonderful thing.
Well, it goes both ways. I mean, often she thinks, or she tells me she's the mum, and she's like,
there we go. That's what I was reaching for, I suppose. Yeah.
It's true. And we sort of have a laugh about it, but it's definitely both ways. There are certain things that I can share with her that, are beneficial for her growth and maturity and evolution. And there are things that she can also share with me from her perspective as a child that, I can't hide. She sees everything. She sees the full, and she tells me and shows me every step of the way, which is confronting.
Yes. Kids are sponges for their parents' energy, and their parents like, where did that come from? Yeah.
So she keeps me in check. But I think the most amazing thing about her at this age, she's 14 and a half, is that she really appreciates me and is grateful that I'm her mother. And that's all I could ask for. And it's taken a while, but now the awareness is there, and I'm so happy that it's there at this age as well, that she's grateful that I'm her mum in this time.
Yeah, honey, that's wonderful. That's beautiful. Yeah. Congratulations. That is a huge achievement that no parent would take for granted,
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Right. Yeah. Yes. Brilliant. Well, I'm just filled with love and joy and hope and inspiration, and can't wait to see what happens next. Anything else you'd like to share with us as we finish up here for the moment?
No, I think we pretty much covered all bases.
Great.
How about you?
I couldn't be happier. I mean, and that this evolved. Thank God the Wi-Fi gods were merciful to us this afternoon, and but this evolved to do 2 parts is perfect. And chaos precedes change, is a quote from Lazarus, my teacher. And so, we have to make our peace with some bit of that, as human beings, especially in this tumultuous time. But at the same time, like we're saying, you're trusting your inner guidance. I'm trusting mine. Chris is trusting his. There are millions of people on the planet who have devoted their lives to helping the world to wake up and remember that love and peace are more powerful than anything else. And to be the inspiration and the catalyst, you know, the secret agents of love and healing for this tumultuous and exciting time. So again, my dear, you're a sister in my heart, and I'm always grateful for our connections and our time together. Thank you.
Thank you. Me too. Thank you so much.
Bless you. You're welcome. All right. So bon voyage tonight, back on the plane to Aussie and thank you for this time and the book. What a gift. And we'll catch up again soon. My love to Chris and Harry and everyone.
Sounds good. Thanks so much, Lou.
All right, sweetheart. Be well.
Bye.
Peace and blessings. Bye, bye, bye. There we go.